Hey everyone, I know I've been a little non-existent in the video department lately. The last time I uploaded a video, our adopted kiddo was sick, and then he was over that for a couple days and then got super sick again. And then anyone who has many children know that once one gets sick, then usually they just pass it on to the next one, who passes it on to the next one, and it just keeps going down the line, which is what has happened. And now our original kiddos, who were getting better, seem to be getting sick again, and so it's just a never-ending cycle of illness. We haven't really been out doing a whole lot. We did take the little boys trick-or-treating a couple of weekends ago. Other than that, we've pretty much just been stuck at home, not doing a whole lot. This last weekend, we did go trick-or-treating at the zoo, and that was a lot of fun. The weather was actually nice here. After today, I don't think that it will be much nicer anymore. According to the news, it sounds like we're going to get some snow this week, which I'm not looking forward to, which means I'm not going to take my kids trick-or-treating on Halloween if it is snowing. My kids aren't old enough to drag them out in the snow to go trick-or-treating. We do have my stepson on Halloween, and so it's possible maybe we'll just take him to a few little houses trick-or-treating, or maybe we'll all pile in the van and just drive to like one spot and then trick-or-treat for a little bit there. Normally, we trick-or-treat in the neighborhood across the street from where my mom lives, and we usually walk like 10-15 blocks and trick-or-treat. And so if it's snowing and as cold as they say it's going to be, with everyone being sick, that's just not going to happen, which is okay because we did trick-or-treat at the zoo, and we did do some other trick-or-treating events where the kids got to wear their costumes and get candy and do all of that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll be going, maybe we won't be going, who knows. I also have another update for you on our foster case. So I had touched on before about how it was looking to be like a possibility that the kids were going to be separated. My dog and my cat are currently fighting on the floor right over here next to me. So if you hear some hisses and growls, everything is fine. It's just them playing with each other. They do this all the time. But again, we have some solid answers on what's going to happen. Unfortunately, the kids are going to be separated. One of the kiddos is going to stay with a maternal family member, and that kiddo has an extensive bond and relationship with that kiddo, which is great because we have a very short transition time for this to happen. On the other front, though, I'm worried about this kiddo's future in that home. In the last 6 months that the kiddos have been with us, things have been rocky in terms of that family member abiding by the department's wishes and rules and all of those kinds of things. So I really worry about this kiddo in terms of a permanent future there. Right now, reunification is just not on the table. And so when reunification isn't an option, they look to family members first before they do adoption outside of relatives. And so, because there's a relative who's willing to take this kiddo, that's where the kiddo is going, whether we agree with it or don't agree with it at all. That's just the way it's going to be. And so it does bother me that as the foster parents, we don't have more of a say and we don't get to voice our opinions really on the matter of where the kiddos end up in those terms. I think that this kiddo is not going to be loved and cared for while there? Yes. I think that this kiddo will be immensely loved and immensely cared for while in this person's home, and they're looking for this person to do long-term guardianship option with our kiddo. That's not the issue at all. And I can't really get into what the issues are because that's giving away too much case details. So I think he will be very well loved there. They will be very well taken care of. That's not where my concerns lie at all. The other kiddo is going to stay with a paternal family member. So when you have kiddos and they have the same mom, but they have different birth fathers, or even in cases where they have the same birth fathers, but have different birth mothers, unless there is a family member in their same parental unit willing to take both kiddos, the likelihood of them staying together when there's family that wants them is very slim. So that is why our kiddos are being separated. So this other kiddo is going to a paternal family member. I think that this kiddo will thrive in this home and will do great. My only concern is that the kids have like a 2-week transition period and then they will be moved. So this kiddo had their first overnight visit this past weekend. They spent the whole weekend there. Prior to that, they had spent one 6-hour day with this person and then a 2-hour visit in our home. To me, that's not really enough time to get to know them and form a bond with them, but this is the way it's going to be. So again, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I don't worry long-term for this kiddo being in this home because, like I said, I think this kiddo will thrive there and have a great life and a great future. I'm just more concerned about the initial trauma of removal from our home and placement in that home and how the kiddo will deal with that. This kiddo has lived with us longer than anyone else that they've lived with in their life. So I'm worried. I'm just worried about that initial transition period. People ask me all the time, and I think I touched on this in one of the other videos, is it hard to say goodbye? Well, yes, it's hard to say goodbye. The kids will be with us for another week and a half, and I'm not really thinking about them leaving yet. I'm just going a day at a time. I know this week and a half is going to fly by, and before I know it, they'll be gone. But I can't think about that right now. I really just need to focus on here and now in the present. So after the kids are gone, I will definitely make some vlogs about kind of my process of grieving, because that's really what it is. It's grieving their loss. So I will kind of make a video on my process and what emotionally I'm feeling and how I'm using that to cope with. For us, when the kiddos leave, we will be leaving ourselves for vacation shortly after they leave. So that's also part of the reason why the kiddos have such a quick transition to their new homes, because we're going on vacation and the kiddos were going to respite. So this is not a vacation we had ever intended on taking our foster kiddos on. This vacation has been planned for long before they were even here, and adding 2 more people to our vacation, it just wasn't feasible. So this vacation has been planned, that we would be going without them. So going on the vacation isn't really going to be like we're missing something without them being here, because we never intended for them to come. And it will kind of be a little bit of a distraction from the fact that they have left. But when we come home from vacation, then reality will set back in, because I won't be going to pick them up from respite, and all of those types of things. So like I said, I definitely am going to vlog what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, how I'm processing, and all of those things. I don't know how long of a downtime we're going to have before we get another placement. Part of me is kind of hoping we can make it through the holidays without a placement, just because, I mean, that makes things a little easier for us all around. And that just means that the kids get to spend the holidays with whomever they're supposed to be with, instead of being thrown into a stranger's home and not knowing anything. It will just make the holidays maybe a little happier and a little easier for them. But I'm kind of hoping that we can have a little bit of a break. Things have been such a whirlwind. We were closing out our foster to adopt case with my adopted son when we got these kiddos, and then we got these kiddos, and we were doing our adoption and the craziness of summer and everything else going on, that things have been really crazy and hectic and chaotic in our home. And so part of me is wishing that we'll just have a little bit of downtime before we get another placement. If you can hear all that noise in the background, the kids are actually playing nicely in the living room, all together for once, without too much fighting going on, which is why I'm quickly making this video. However, if it doesn't happen, we're not going to officially close our home to take an official break or do anything like that. So if the right placement comes along, we will take that placement. But like I said, I'm just kind of hoping for a break for just a couple months. And then hopefully as the new year starts, we'll get back into the swing of things. I have not yet had the opportunity, because I wasn't doing these vlogs when we ever got any of our other placements. So I've not had the opportunity to go through and kind of talk about how we prepare and what it's like for us for the first few weeks and all of those types of things when we get new placements. So that's something I'm looking forward to vlogging whenever the new placement comes. I'm also probably right now, our house is pretty small, and all my stepson and our two foster kiddos all share one room a majority of the time. A lot of times the baby sleeps not in there. A lot of times she sleeps in my stepson's room when he's not here, just because his room is more secluded. That's where she naps. It's quieter for her. The boys don't keep her awake then. She has slept in our room. It just kind of depends on how things are going with her. She's generally always a pretty good sleeper, but she's a very unpredictable sleeper. And so there are some nights she wants to go to bed at 5 o'clock and then she sleeps all night long. I can't do that when we have other kids we need to put to sleep in there. So a lot of times on those nights, she will go to sleep in the pack and play in our room or in my stepson's room. So we have all of that, but she does have a bed dedicated in her room, in that room with them, where we are children of opposite genders can share a room until they're 6 years old. So that's why we can have 2 boys and 1 girl in that bedroom. But I am going to go through and kind of just show everyone kind of a before and what it looks like right now. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff has been taken out because I've slowly been starting to pack up all of the kids' stuff. So there's not as much stuff in terms of like their clothing and all of that stuff in there, because I have packed a lot of it and just kept out like the essentials need to wash every day so that it's clean when it's time for them to leave clothing. But I am going to do like a before walkthrough, and then once the kiddos actually leave, we do not keep like the crib set up, the extra toddler bed. We take that stuff down. And the reason I do that is just so that my adopted son can kind of have a sense of his room and his belongings back. So we will go through, I will do a before and after of what it looks like now before the kids leave, and then what it looks like when they're gone and it's just my adopted son's room back. Like I said, I like for him to be able to have kind of his own space again when we don't have other kiddos that need to share his room. Because really, I mean, we could get a phone call the day we come back from vacation. We could get a phone call when we're on vacation, but we're not going to say yes to that because we won't be here. But we could get a phone call the day we come back from vacation. We could get a phone call 6 months from now. You just never know how it's going to work or how it's going to play out. And so if it's going to be 6 months, pardon me, I just have the hiccups. If it's going to be 6 months before we have another placement, I would like for our adopted son to be able to have his room with his toys and his things and all of that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, when we got these 2 kiddos, because we were taking in 2 kiddos, a lot of my adopted son's toys had to be stored in the basement because we just didn't have room for everything. So he will be excited to have some of those things come back out again and not have to like go through rotation in order to play with them. So we're also looking forward to being able to give him his room back. With my luck, I will take everything down and set everything up, and then we'll get a new placement right away. But that's just something that I'm willing to risk in giving him some normalcy back. If we did realistically get a placement and it was an infant who is not a great sleeper yet or anything like that, realistically that infant would be sleeping in our room because I'm not going to put a kiddo that's not sleeping through the night, especially if it's a newborn or something like that, to keep my adopted son awake all night then. So that's kind of what our plan is now, and we'll kind of just walk through all of it together. I'm hoping to make another video before the kiddos leave. I'm going to try to just make a video of how we pack everything up and what we send and all of those types of things with the kiddos. I'm hoping to get that video done in the next few days, perhaps this weekend. I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, if you have any videos you like or topics you like for me to talk about, reach out to me and let me know, because when we're in between placements, there's only so much that I know of to really touch on and talk about. So if there are things that you're interested in knowing, whether it just be like things about our family in general, feel free to reach out to me and let me know those things. I'd be glad to work on some other videos. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be something that pertains to foster care. So everyone, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.